That when you talk about yourself, this your online presence, you should think about it as a soap opera. In a way that you have existing followers, you're supposed to be able to provide them something new. But it still needs to be simple enough for new audience to connect with. And finding that balance, that bringing introducing these fresh elements and but while still being accessible for both those who's familiar with your story and those just discovering it.
We're going to focus primarily for digital. Well, we're going to be talking a lot about LinkedIn, but there's other platforms. We just thought LinkedIn is the one that I know the best. So it's probably the best, but we can at other times or in your questions at the end, and there will be time for questions at the end, we can talk about other platforms. But where do you start with your network? Because I always use this analogy. I had already worked, I think, nearly 15 years in the music business when I left Vintage House, which was a music publishing administrator at the time. And I had worked with many, many well-known people. I don't say that to brag, but I really had worked with some really, really great clients, and people like Tori Amos and Hasbro and Jason Mraz and all these people, right? But when I found myself leaving Vintage House and looking at my LinkedIn, it was in a shabby state because I'd always thought that LinkedIn was to find a job, not to build my network. So I was sort of getting to the game a little late. And as I started to look for jobs and somehow, and in particular in my time at Songtrust, when my network started to evolve, I realized that the connections were when I left in that sorry situation at Vintage with a very poor LinkedIn network. Most people were my fifth removed network connection rather. And now, most people I don't know are my second connection, which shows how intimate and small the music business is. And you told me as well, Mika, how the music industry and music business just loves LinkedIn, whereas the film business does not love LinkedIn. But luckily, of course, the music business does. And I find that really fascinating. And I also find it fascinating that, I think I have about 4,000, maybe a few more connections now on LinkedIn, but you have like 24,000. So can you sort of, where do you start and when is the right time to start? And if anyone in the participants here, they're all at different levels of their career. What is the essence of beginning to be you to network? Oh, I know it's a big question.
Like I said, I got thrown into a deep end of the pool quite at the beginning of my career, so it became apparent that it's knowledge is the thing that connects you to this industry. That's the only thing. All these how can I say it in a correct way, that it's people comes always the second when we talk about music business. Everything on LinkedIn starts with your profile. And
Yeah.
now that an advanced eye can see, or music business industry professionals, they see in seconds at what career stage you're at. And if you're capable of building yourself a robust online presence and profile that clearly states what you're doing and why, they can read it in seconds. And if you're above that, capable of demonstrate that you have skills in both digital and industrial fields, and you know the basic principles and these unwritten rules of the field, it becomes clear in seconds. And this is something that attracts people, and like I said, they see these things in seconds, and it makes you more approachable. And it's the same thing, that knowledge is something that also builds trust. And like I said, industry professional, when you if you're capable of demonstrating that you know these indirect effects of the field, you're already involved,
Maybe
significantly involved as a participant. So these people and things, when we talk about it in terms of business, comes as a second thing. So what I advise people to do is that do your homework. And You don't have to if you approach people. It's enough that you have a your own LinkedIn profile that looks like you. Don't
So,
try to be
Mika,
anything
let's
else.
break
Or,
it down a little bit more. So I'm thinking that let's just pretend that the people here have very little background in the music industry, but
Mhm,
thankfully we are, at least as far as I see it, we're in a wonderful time now in the music industry where it could just be the circles that I seem to be involved in, but with all these startups, I really do think that these startups are finally going to make the business better,
mhm,
and that the industry that for many years blocked progression
mhm,
because of the institutional way that things have been done is a bit more open to it. So
mhm,
when you say knowledge for the network, and let's pretend that I am just entering the music business. I mean, may
mhm,
never even have been in there, but I want to build my network. I think
mhm.
what you're saying is that you can do that and you can build your profile, but there is still an element of being knowledgeable about what
Ye-
the industry is talking about or looking at. So let's say it's metadata or
mhm,
um, blockchain or I don't know, Web3 or all these things that are quite difficult. As far as I see it, the music business needs people who know about a lot of these things. And if you mix them together with people who know about the industry already,
mhm,
people like you and I who've worked a long time in it, that's the perfect marriage. So anyone
mhm.
who's brand new to the industry, if they can demonstrate that they are knowledgeable, that is the way in that they could build their profile to be seen by the
It's
people who
this
you said have
silent
it. Is that
silent
right?
information that you gain and while you engage and participate these events. It's something that it's always advisable to reach out to people and move with your own pace. It's enough that your um, profile implies that your potential in a way that music industry professional can discern quite easily what you're capable of, just a bit of guidance. This
Mm-hmm.
this is something that you can figure out. So just in a way be yourself. You don't have to. It's we
No.
understand that. And most of the time students, they always ask that how do I present myself on LinkedIn while I'm still student. So I'm telling you that
What do
it's
you
it's
say?
clear to be students because you already, if you are geared towards music business, you already it implies your potential. Someday you will be professional with this field. And it's something that music business professionals can check, that hey, they can check that you are attending my courses, my lectures. There's knowledge within these lectures, and if you attend to these lectures you probably have this knowledge possess. So it's pretty much how you handle the information what you have. But it's really important, this LinkedIn thing, that you don't necessarily have to you can just send these invites to people. But I usually, there's always this agenda and task what determines to who I approach at any given moment. And it's something about this balance as well, that when you talk about yourself, this your online presence, you should think about it as a soap opera in a way that you have existing followers. You're supposed to be able to provide them something new, but it still needs to be simple enough for new audience to connect with. And finding that balance, that bringing introducing these fresh elements, and but while still being accessible for both those who's familiar with your story and those just discovering it. This is something to introduce. So there's this kind of a above thing, that being consistent is not a joke. It's about these small details. And now that AI is tracking every action here, what we do, if being consistent, AI at some point begins to interpret the information about you and eventually start to deliver this
Mm.
information for those who find value in your work. And this is something that we need to sorry, this thing, well, it's a pretty it's possible, and it's still here, that AI can better assess our significance and as a result, they find routes and methods so that we can more efficiently find the natural operating environments for us and our target audiences and all this kind of a thing. So there's always this parallel system that what you do actively here in physically and what happens as a result online. And when
Yeah, I
these,
love that. And
yeah,
it's like for me, it was I I don't know, I come to this thought so late in the game. I mean, I've been really, really working hard to build my freelancing business, say since June, right? And only only the last month did I even think, thanks to someone telling me,
mm,
if you post at this time or that time, it's better because of X, Y, Z. And do you remember I made a mistake? I don't know those who joined here, but I accidentally I accidentally made some mistake with announcing this event. And I changed something in my website, and as a result, it messed up all the Google stuff. I'm sorry, I don't know all the right words. And then I said to Mika, oh gosh, just going to have to repost it. And then I realized just by doing, and I know that this might seem really like, how come I didn't know this? But I realized then that when I reposted it, a whole load of different people had seen it. A whole lot of different people interacted with it. And it was, it wasn't too much. So that was sort of my first real example of things working for me. And now I'm trying to be more observant with about what comes up on my LinkedIn homepage because it's quite in my face what's in my Instagram or Facebook homepages, and it obviously knows that I like cute animals and dogs and things like that and babies. But on
if
LinkedIn, I never thought there was an algorithm working, and I know that seems really naive, but do you have any tips for like how much effort should I put in? What is the best thing I should do to grow my network, you like physically versus the algorithm on LinkedIn in a way with your experience? Like how did you get to 24,000? You know?
it's I okay, I do have this a few leverages, advantages I can leverage. If you start writing books for international markets and you get your books well represented globally, and so that's the thing that eventually people they are interested about the person behind it. So that's the thing that the
Yeah.
books made a lot, and all this online presence is usually in music business and in many other industries as well. It's really copyright oriented place. So it's like copyright is the most valuable hit on you on social media because once released, it cannot change. And usually it's like music and books, people read them, they get spread through distributors and digital service providers, etc. And this is something that you always get connected when something happens around these products. So that's the thing that you got a great coverage for your work. So this is the thing, but we could do something if here on LinkedIn that I could demonstrate the power of LinkedIn because LinkedIn is also an AI powered platform, and it quite well tracks all the keywords and intent of these releases for CEOs. So at the end of this conversation, if you want, if every one of us open cameras here, and I make a screenshot here, and write a caption that relates to this very moment, and I tag you all of them there. Then you all will be within my 24,000 followers there, plus all the other reach we within through
You
hashtags.
mean, but is all that you need to do is that everyone or anyone who wants to opens their
Yeah,
camera
everyone who
here
wants, not now, but at the beginning, if you
or
want
at
to
the
do it,
end
and
before
I
we
can
leave?
show you the power, what
Yeah.
happens as a result. And it's a great thing that now we are from different countries. We do also have a quite wide this geographical influence, and we all have our own personal influence. And then if you like to use this post, you can reshare it and use it for your own purposes. You can write your own caption for it. I provide the one from my perspective,
Sorry.
and then we create this story on story effect.
So that leads nicely into the win-win situation as opposed to the
It
win take
definitely
or
is.
the take win. Like sometimes, I think a lot about everything. So
Hmm.
when people contact me, um, I think about what they say and why they're saying it, and you know, and I like to deliver that back to other people. And you know, you and I, we had a discussion about. I'll tell you exactly what I said. Um, for me, it's not that easy to try to strategically grow my network strategically. It's
Mm.
because I'm grasping at straws in many ways in this non-linear path that I'm following, that I have a lot of great things, but I'm still learning where my focus should be. I'm in a new job, albeit my own job, you know, as an entrepreneur. And one of the tactics that I was thinking about is, let's say, for example, you make this post. The first thing I do is I look at likes, who liked it or interacted with his post. I then look at whether I'm connected to them already. And as I told you, I have a lot of things going on at the moment. So I have been just pressing connect, 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 connect. Sorry for anyone who reads this and thinks that they were more than that. They were, but I haven't been giving myself the time to to do that part where it says writing a note with this person shows that it's more of an impactful connection. You know, does everybody get that? And I just don't always. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I message separately, but let's say 60-70% of the time I'm just doing connect, connect, connect. And I'm literally thinking, well, if those people have interacted with Mika and I'm connected with Mika, that's enough, and it will be okay. But I said to Mika that what I would like to do as a sort of New Year's resolution is take a step back and to make time for networking as part of my role as a freelancer, part of an essential role, and to actually look at the people who might interact with one of his posts or one of someone else's posts who I'm with or I am connected to, and I like what they do, and then say, so for example, I would say, I see that you liked Mika's post. Did you know that Mika and I, we've known each other for some time. We've collaborated on music publishing, and I'm really glad that you know him too, because he's a special person in my network. Now, to me, that is an impactful, personal, and authentic, from my point of view, relationship. And what do I want out of it? Who knows? But I think it's better. I prefer that to just connect. But Yumika told me maybe I don't even need to do that because of the algorithm and the way it works. And that's so maybe that's a long story, but this is what I go through, and perhaps other people think of it like this. It is a bigger deal to some people.
Like I said, there's always this uh, finding the balance between what you want to do and where you really have relevance. That's the thing that I'm dancing all the time here. And I would always, also, of course, like to perform some things the other way, but then I just realized at the moment, but okay, my role here is this, that I'm an artist manager, and always artist interests take precedence. So that's natural to be that. I technically doesn't exist when I'm representing artists, but then when I changed my role for a music business management lecturer or an author, then there's my personal point of view becomes more clearly out there. So it's dancing between these extremes, and always remember that you are approaching these situations from multiple perspectives. And it's these things, and about networking, it isn't always about instant results or pitches, but it's like this, that to gain this field knowledge, and it's also that we build trust for future collaborations. I had this one example that I met one label executive years ago, and we decided that hey, someday we end up doing something together, and yeah, just and let it be. And it went years and years and years, and then one artist approached me, and it fit the scene well, and I just called him that hey, now we have something we can collaborate. And it was quite impressive to
So
let
it was a
artists know that
win-win
hey,
because
you
you
should
had
just go
listened.
there and sign an agreement. And I met an artist's father.
Wow.
They've been struggling with her career there, and he was like, what is this guy that you just met her, and now She already have a recording agreement, but it's something that you build these
Nurture, and it's
foundations
about,
for future collaborations, and it's something. And this why this knowledge is important, because when people see that you actually and it doesn't come out like a lecture like manner. It's more like when it comes across naturally in your conversations, speaking about right terms and words in the appropriate context. That's the thing that builds trust. And when
yeah.
people see this, they can easily connect you with when the time comes.
It could be years down the line. It could be like if you just met me tomorrow, you would not think that I know people in the metal industry, I think.
Yeah.
You can't have any judgment about who, what, why, anything
Yeah.
without you have to be open to it. And
Mhm.
it's amazing how some connections that were for one reason, like you said, that room you were in at the beginning where you went in there as like an artist manager and you came out as a university lecturer. Yeah, so it's like it's the open-mindedness, but the win-win, that was a win-win situation. So it's not like sending 20 CVs and hoping that you're going to get one job. It's about sending one well connected connection, you know what I mean? Or referral or something, right?
Yeah, but it's always when some much more clever guy than I always mentioned. I don't remember who he or she was, but always said that it's not music. Chris Lakey, it was. It's not music. It's music business, and this is something that
It's not
for
music.
it's
Did you
not
say?
music. It's music business.
Oh, okay.
So it's but it's like the way that the business is can be in other places than where your visible work takes place. And this is something that I've learned that when I am talking about where my business relies on, I'm every day I'm working for the artist I represent. That's something that takes place every day. It's an ongoing journey and it never stops. But and there's this with artist management, there's a lot of tasks that are not related to earning any level. It's more about you are facilitating the environment for their future moves and all these kind of things. But then there comes this knowledge thing that people, when they hire me up, this something about most of the thing comes with this music business management lecturing. This is something, it's all the time topical uh, thing for me, and nowadays globally it's not only a Finnish thing. And also the other thing is this, how I build up myself a robust online presence. This is something I get inquiries a lot. So it's something that I'm really happy with this situation, because I'm able to earn a living from the music business, and occasionally I write books. It's something that I'm always seeking for truth, and that's one of the reasons I release these books. So you can expect to see an update every 2 years. From this,
Mm.
it's something that the way I do is for me easier to think and evaluate and outline these things, writing a book at the same time while I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do with the artist.